Good evening and welcome to CYC News for the 12th of March 2017 and the 3rd of Barhamhat 17:33 am. I'm Anastasia Attia. In today's headlines, powerful winds whip through the Great Lakes region and northeast US. The number of Iraqis fleeing Mosul nears 60,000. Russia, 1,000 ISIS casualties as Syrian troops retake Palmyra. Defiant Fillon won't end his bid for the French presidency. The Red Cross confirms a suspected chemical attack in Mosul. PSG face angry fans at airport after Barcelona defeat in Champions League. To our top story, in the United States, where powerful and potentially dangerous winds blew across the Great Lakes region and the northeast of the states on Wednesday, has caused havoc and left millions without power. The winds have caused a train to derail, blown over tractor trailers and pushed a plane off a runway. Gusts reportedly reached 50 to 70 miles per hour in some areas, according to the National Weather Service. The exceptional winds, which blew from the upper Midwest across the Great Lakes and into the northeast, can be blamed on a very strong storm system moving across Canada. A CSX train was derailed in Batavia, New York, between Buffalo and Rochester, where wind gusts reportedly reached 66 miles per hour in Buffalo. According to CSX spokesman Rob Doolittle, a total of 12 rail cars were involved, but there were no reports of injuries or of any leaks or spills of freight from the train. Rochester saw winds over hurricane force with a peak gust of 81 miles per hour, according to the National Weather Service. As of 8 p.m. Wednesday, Rochester Gas and Electric reported over 100,000 customers without power. In western New York and the Finger Lakes, downed trees and wires blocked roads and made travel dangerous. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo said in a news conference, with high winds and the potential for drowned power lines and power outages, I urge New Yorkers to avoid unnecessary travel and heed all travel restrictions. Tractor trailers driving down the road were blown over by high winds in Michigan and Ohio and near Niagara Falls in Ontario, Canada. James Stepp, a truck driver in Canada, said it caught the back of the trailer and just rolled it over like a wave. I could feel when the wind hit. Next thing I knew, I felt the back of the trailer go up. In Ohio, winds reached 62 miles per hour in Toledo and 59 miles per hour in Cleveland. As of 6 p.m., over 154,000 First Energy customers were without power in Ohio. A plane carrying the University of Michigan men's basketball team slid off the runway at Willow Run Airport in Michigan due to the high winds. The plane was headed to the Big Ten tournament in Washington, D.C. The team tweeted after attempting to take off in high winds, takeoff was aborted, and after strong braking, the plane slid off runway. The plane sustained extensive damage, but everyone on board was safely evacuated and is safe. The team is making alternate travel plans. Michigan saw many outages and winds damage, with 68 miles per hour gusts reported in Detroit. More than 550,000 customers of Detroit-based DTE Energy were without power as of 6 p.m. due to severe winds blowing throughout southeast Michigan. The outages are widespread across the region, with the hardest hit areas in Wayne, Oakland, Macomb, and Washtenaw counties, according to DTE. Most of the wind advisories across the Great Lakes region and northeast United States are set to expire during the overnight hours, but conditions will still be breezy into the northeast on Thursday. Gusts over 30 miles per hour will likely bring some delays at the airports, especially during the morning hours and into the early afternoon in New York and Boston. The number of civilians fleeing western Mosul in recent weeks has topped 57,000, according to an Iraqi official. Iraqis have been leaving in large numbers since last month's start of the military operation to take back the western part of the city from ISIS. The International Committee of the Red Cross said that 12 Mosul residents, including 5 children, were treated for injuries from a suspected chemical attack. The Iraqi government is providing relief and food. The Minister of Migration and Displacement, Jassim Mohammed Al-Jaf, said the government can manage another 100,000 displaced people from western Mosul at refugee camps. On Friday, ministry figures showed 46,000 people had left since the fighting began February 19. Since Mosul's capture by ISIS fighters in June 2014, Mosul has been a vital stronghold for ISIS. As the largest city under the terror group's control in Iraq and Syria, it was the city from which the group first declared the establishment of its so-called caliphate. At least 1,000 ISIS militants were killed or wounded by government forces and Russian aircraft as the Syrian military recaptured the city of Palmyra and surrounding areas from ISIS. The claims have been made public by Lieutenant General Sergei Radskoy of Russian Ministry of Defense. Radskoy told reporters that the offensive was planned by Russian advisors and the Syrian military advance continues to the east of the ancient city. Syrian army units seized Palmyra this week, liberating it after ISIS held it for several months. Palmyra is seen as strategically important to both sides in Syria's civil war, which has continued for more than 5 years. Located in Homs province in central Syria, Palmyra is around 225 kilometers from Raqqa and is considered ISIS's headquarters in Syria. Control of Palmyra has passed from the region to ISIS and back again a number of times. Syrian forces recaptured the city from ISIS last March after it was seized the previous May, when ISIS started demolishing ancient ruins in the city. German Chancellor Angela Merkel has condemned unjustifiable comments by Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan about Nazism in the midst of a growing diplomatic spat between countries. Erdogan lashed out over the weekend after rallies in the German city of Cologne and the town of Gaggenau in support of his government were cancelled due to concerns about overcrowding. In a video on the website of Anadolu, the Turkish state news agency, Erdogan said, "I thought that Nazism was over in Germany, but it turns out that it is still going on. It is clear." The president added, "My brothers, now they think that Tayyip Erdogan will come to Germany. I will come tomorrow if I want to. I will come, and when they won't let me enter or don't let me talk, I will set the whole world in an uproar." A defiant Fillon says he will not end his bid for France's presidency. The embattled Republican candidate tweeted that he will not withdraw after it was announced that a respectful exit plan will be discussed at a party meeting on Monday. "No one can stop me from being a candidate in this race," Fillon said in an interview with CNN affiliate France 2 television. Fillon faces speculation that he could be replaced by the man he beat in the primaries, former Prime Minister Alain Juppé. Fillon has been heavily criticised for failing to quit the race after becoming embroiled in a parliamentary scandal over claims that he paid his wife and children for work they did not do. Fillon has apologised for the affair but has lost support over the past week and now faces being stripped of his candidacy by the party. He also faces an investigation into possible criminal wrongdoing. On Sunday, senior Republican Christian Estrosi told CNN affiliate BFM that he and others were looking to initiate a way for Fillon to stand down respectfully. Estrosi said that not taking action could allow National Front leader Marine Le Pen to take power and added that he would not allow voters to commit what he termed collective suicide. But Fillon said standing down would be a political dead end for his party and make way for the far-right Le Pen. He said, "We won't be able to convince the French not to elect Marine Le Pen if we present a central-left project." Le Pen herself is also under scrutiny. Several of her staff members are accused of being paid for fake European Parliament jobs. Addressing supporters at a rally in Paris on Sunday, Fillon remained defiant, telling the crowd that his accusers will feel shame. Ahead of Monday's party meeting, Fillon said he wants to reconstitute his campaign team after several staffers resigned last week. 12 residents of the war-torn Iraqi city of Mosul were treated for injuries from a suspected chemical attack this week, according to an official with the International Committee of the Red Cross, the ICRC. Robert Mardini, the organization's regional director for the Middle East, said that the patients are being treated in hospital and nearby Erbil and are showing clinical symptoms consistent with an exposure to a blistering chemical agent. The 5 children, 3 women and 4 men have symptoms that include blisters, coughing, redness in the eyes, irritation and vomiting. Mardini said the use of chemical weapons is absolutely prohibited under international humanitarian law. "We are deeply alarmed by what our colleagues have seen and we strongly condemn any use of chemical weapons by any party anywhere." The Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons realized a similar statement on Sunday, stating that it's seriously concerned over the alleged use of chemical weapons in Mosul. The organization said that parties to Chemical Weapons Convention deemed the use of chemical weapons by anyone under any circumstances as inexcusable and wholly contrary to the legal norms established by the international community. Dr. Lloyd Milwan, head of emergency hospital in Erbil, told CNN his hospital is treating 2 cases with symptoms consistent with exposure to a toxic chemical agent. CNN talked with 2 residents of East Mosul who reported smelling something strange like a chemical agent or mustard gas following mortar attacks on eastern Mosul on Wednesday and Thursday. The residents said the attacks came across the Tigris River from western Mosul. The ICRC spokeswoman said the first 3 cases were brought to the hospital on Wednesday, followed by another 4 Thursday. 5 victims arrived in somewhat better medical condition on Friday. All are victims of the same attack. The World Health Organization has responded to the reported use of chemical weapons agents in eastern Mosul, activating an emergency response plan to treat those who may be exposed to the highly toxic chemicals. ISIS has used chemical weapons on numerous occasions in Iraq and Syria, including in the battlefield in northern Iraq. This is believed to be the first such attack in Mosul since the October start of the offensive to retake Iraq's second most populous city from ISIS control. In other news, the WikiLeaks dump has had much talk and speculation. White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer cast aside the playbook of cut-and-dry condemnations of national security leaks and instead framed his response along political lines. After expressing concern about WikiLeaks' release of documents allegedly revealing CIA surveillance techniques, Spicer quickly muddled his message. He connected the latest WikiLeaks document dump to surveillance efforts under the Obama administration, days after President Donald Trump leveled his unconfirmed claim that President Barack Obama tapped the GOP candidates' phones during the 2016 campaign. And then he took to arguing forcefully that there was a double standard when it comes to the level of outrage elicited by different leaks. Spicer's comments came as he relayed Trump's concern about the leaks and said Americans should be outraged by the release of classified information. Spicer said this is the kind of disclosure that undermines our country, our security and our well-being. Spicer's claims came as he faced questions about a double standard on the president's part in condemning this leak, while he praised WikiLeaks' publication of emails related to his rival Hillary Clinton during the 2016 campaign. To health news, in the United States regarding Obamacare, Tiffany Coley is a former candidate for the Wisconsin state legislature. She ran as a Republican and once was anti-Obamacare. She was raised in foster care in biracial, a veteran and a cancer survivor, and now favors the medical care program she once spoke out against. Her biggest objection remains the mandate that individuals must obtain health insurance coverage. She says we all want to thrive and make America great again, as President Donald Trump says, but we can't do that if we're struggling to pay bills. People have to be able to get to their doctors. People have to be able to get their medicine, and out of any country in the world, we should be doing it. To sport, Paris Saint-Germain players and their families were confronted by angry fans on their return to the French capital following their 6-1 Champions League defeat in Barcelona. The French club said players were insulted and had their cars vandalized as supporters waiting to confront the team at Berkay Airport created an extremely hostile and aggressive climate. PSG said one person was struck by a car during the incident, which is now the subject of a police investigation. A statement from the club read on Wednesday night upon their return from Barcelona, the Paris Saint-Germain players were confronted and threatened by several individuals at Berkay Airport, despite the club and authorities reinforcing security. These individuals verbally insulted the players before vandalizing the cars. Several vehicles were damaged. In this extremely hostile and aggressive climate, all vehicles were escorted to ensure the safe passage of the players, their families and the club staff members. One individual was struck by a car trying to escape the crowd that was physically threatening the players and their families. A police investigation is underway to establish exactly what happened. The club had strongly condemned the actions and behaviour of the individuals in question. And that's all for CYC News. A reminder that you can watch this news bulletin again throughout the week on YouTube. I'm Anastasia Atia from the CYC studios in Sydney, Australia. Good night and God bless.